Yesterday in the investigation, you all should have discovered a relationship for vertical angles, that vertical angles are congruent. Vertical angles are congruent, and congruent means equal. So if I label this 4, 5, 6, 7, from what you learned, the measure of angle 5 is equal to the measure of angle 7, and the measure of angle 4 is equal to the measure of angle 6. Vertical angles are going to be something that we're going to be working with all year long. So the vertical angle theorem states, maybe I'll type it so it looks pretty. Vertical angle theorem states, and we'll start over here, that if two angles are vertical angles, then they are congruent. I want to take a sneak peek to the next page. Okay. So if I told you that this angle is 40 degrees, based on the vertical angle theorem, this would be 40 degrees. If I told you that this is 140 degrees, then by the vertical angle theorem, this one is 140 degrees. If I put two intersecting lines up here again, and I tell you that this is 5x minus 4, and this is 3x plus 12, then you should be able, these are vertical angles. The vertical angle theorem says they're congruent. So you would write 5x minus 4 equals 3x plus 12. Then you would solve this equation. I subtracted 3x and I'm adding 4. So I'm going to end up with 2x equals 16. I'm going to divide by 2. I get x equals 8. So if I want to know what is this angle, I put in 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 4 is 36. If I were to put 8 here, I'm going to get 24. 24 plus 12 is 36. And they should be equal. All right. So I need this word map done. You can complete this now. Mrs. O'Regan can stop the video, or pause, I should say pause the video. I would like this attached to the homework, so please put this on a different sheet of paper attached to homework when you turn it in tomorrow. All right, so we have defined vertical angles in a previous day's notes. You're going to explain how to draw, label, and mark, because now you know how to mark vertical angles because of the theorem we just had. Now you're going to tell me what is the mathematical relationship, and that's what you discovered yesterday, between vertical angles. And then when you're told that you have vertical angles, you're going to tell me what do you look for and how do you mathematically deal with them. All right. Then we looked, the second investigation had to do with linear pair angles. This is angle 1 and this is angle 2. They form a linear pair. A lot of you should have measured your angles, and you found out that if this was 120 degrees, that this was 60. In other words, they have a supplementary relationship. All right, we could have talked about this without the investigation if we used angle addition. Because you all know what a straight angle measures. This whole angle from here to here is 180. So if we used segment addition, then we know the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 has to be 180 degrees. So there we've come at it at two different perspectives. So let's see, let's go back and work with this. So if I were to tell you, these are two vertical lines, and I told you this was 110, you should be able to tell me everything else on this picture. Because of vertical relationship, we know this is 110. Because these are a linear pair, we know this is going to be 180. Remember, if you add, subtract, multiply, divide, I need to see work. So we know this is 70, and then by vertical angles, this is 70. You could have done linear pair all the way around and kept subtracting from 180 is another one. So now I want this completed now. And again, you can do this on the sheet that you just did your vertical angles on. This needs to be attached to the homework that Mrs. O'Regan's going to collect tomorrow. Define a linear pair in your own words. We did that 2 days ago. Give an example of linear pair angles. Explain their relationship, and then when you're told you have linear pair angles, what do you look for? How do you mathematically deal with it? So you've got to go from words into a mathematical relationship. So this would be a good time to pause. All right, so now we're going to state the types of angles. We're going to state the relationship. We're going to write an equation, and we're going to solve. In fact, I'm going to make this A, B, C, D. So if we look at this picture, we're working with angle 4 and angle 2. And if we look at 4 and angle 2, what type of angles are they? They are vertical. So you see, you looked at your picture, you identified that they were vertical angles. All right, in order to move on, you have to state the relationship. What do you know about vertical angles? Vertical angles are congruent, or their angle measures are equal. That's the relationship. Now you're going to write an equation to solve. So if 4 is 4x plus 3 and angle 2 is 2x plus 11, then the relationship that you identified in B should help you write this equation. And then step D is this solving step. So I'm going to subtract 2x. I'm going to subtract 2x. We have 2x plus 3 is equal to 11. I'm going to subtract 3. So I've got 2x equals 8. I'm going to divide by 2, and I've got x is equal to 4. If I ask for one of the angles, then you would go back and find it. If we look at our next example, we're dealing with 3 and 4. So if you look at 3 and 4 on this diagram, they are no longer vertical, but they are a linear pair. So the first thing you do is identify them as a linear pair. The second thing you do is you tell me what the relationship is. The relationship is supplementary. Now, if you don't want to use that word, that's perfectly fine. Telling me that they add to 180 would be even better, because that's going to be easier for you to write an equation with. And then see your equation, what is 3? 3 is 2x minus 7. 4 is 3x plus 17. So ignore the black, we're in the orange. So we have 2x minus 7 plus 3x plus 17, and that is equal to 180. Now from here you solve, you've got things on both like stuff, so we got 5x plus 10 equals 180. Subtract 10, you're going to have 170. Then if you divide by 5, you're going to have 3, which is 30, 15, 20, 34. Now I've asked you to find the measure of angle 2. Did I find it requested? Well, I've got to go back. I didn't finish that problem. So let me finish this one. I'll go back and finish that one. So if I want the measure of angle 2, here's 2. And 2 happens to be vertical with 4. So if I use angle 4 expression, then I've got the measure of angle 2. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 4. Therefore, it's going to be 3 times 34 plus 17. Or that's going to be 102 plus 17. Or this is going to be 119. 3 times 4 is 12, 9, 10. So let me go back up here because I didn't finish answering the question, I don't believe. It said, what did it tell us to do? It said solve. Oh, it said find the measure of angle 3. Well, now we're back in black. So let me go back to black. Here's black pen. This is where we were. And the relationship with 3 and 2 is supplementary, which means we're going to have to find the measure of angle 2. The measure of angle 2 is going to be 2 times 4 plus 11, which is 8 plus 11, or 19. Now, the relationship between 2 and 3 is supplementary. So the measure of angle 3 is going to equal 180 minus 19, which is going to be 161. This is tomorrow's notes. So you've got an opportunity right now to do these two questions. And these two questions are based on this picture. Let's see if I can move it all at once. Based on this picture. So what I want to see, you've got a word map of, let's see, vertical angles. You have a word map of linear pair angles. And I want to see this, these two U-tries on the same paper. This is this to be turned in. So this should come after your word maps. And these two U-tries are going to count as your EOC review. But you're going to put these on this homework assignment after the word maps. This homework assignment after the word maps. Don't put it on the EOC section because I want to see it when I get the papers on Monday. That was pretty good.